fourth of our linked art sessions here at the conference. We've been thrilled to have you on board all this time. So let me give you a brief introduction as to what's going to happen in the next hour. So in the first half hour, we'll have Rob Sanderson talk about the linked art data model and talk a little bit about how it works, or it's based on the CRM, how he's going to demystify this for us. I'll then introduce a few projects that have been using the linked art data model or are planning on doing so. And then we'll have a 10-15-minute presentation from Mikael Hildebrand from SPINC, who will be talking about the Van Gogh Worldwide project. So that's going to be the first half hour. And then we're going to turn it over into a panel with a number of panelists that you see on your screen now. And we've prepared a number of questions for them that they know ahead of time. But I will be moderating the panel and asking the questions. If you do have questions in between, please log that in the chat, and I'll be keeping an eye on that and asking them to the panel. And I will be sharing my screen for just a minute to tell you about the people behind the linked art initiative. And linked art has really grown a network of people, of partners and institutions actually, towards the adoption of a shared standard, a linked data shared standard. And so there is a strong emphasis in our community here to try to provide tools and opportunities for museums colleagues to learn more about linked open data in general, and specifically about linked art. And we're very focused also on trying to foster collaboration across disciplines. So certainly we talk a lot with data people, but also scholars and provenance experts and other collections managers. So it's not just technologists and information technology specialists. And in terms of who actually is currently working on the linked art data model, here you have a list of the members of the editorial board. The linked art initiative has developed a bit of a governance model, if you will, and the editorial board meets or tries to meet several times a year, at least on the phone, very frequently, every other week, but in person at least once or twice a year, to tackle real data questions, as Rob just mentioned, and provide answers for those questions with the linked art data model. And we've been generously supported by a number of funding institutions along the way. So the CREST Foundation and the Arts and Humanities Research Council have provided funding, particularly for those in-person meetings. And this is also kind of a way of saying that participating in our collaboration, can bring you into the fold of a larger collaboration, international collaboration, with some really interesting work. In terms of the application of the linked art model, I've listed just a few of the projects that are currently using linked art or in the process of thinking and evaluating linked art. Certainly the American Art Collaborative, there, the blue logo on your right, has been one of the earliest partners in this initiative. The Faroes Consortium of Photo Archives is also looking at some aspects of the linked art data model for its consortium of 14 institutions. The Pre-Raphael Life Online is clearly a fine arts project looking at leveraging linked art. And there are a number of other initiatives, and particularly the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum here is currently actually using linked art on its website, particularly to link across all the different types of collections that the museum has around the person of Georgia O'Keeffe. So they have letters, they have archives for her, they also have clothing and watercolors and a number of different types of collections. We have connections with the linked conservation data project headed by Athanasios Velios, who is on this panel. And of course, I could not mention the Rijksmuseum as a segue into the Van Gogh Worldwide project that Michael will be telling us about in a minute. Essentially, I hope I'm not stealing Michael's thunder, but the Rijksmuseum is using the linked art data model to provide data on to that project. So how to participate? We have frequent calls, as I've mentioned, but there is a handy Google group that you can join to subscribe to announcements and news activities about the working group, so please do so. You can also reach out to Rob to ask for an invitation to the Slack channel. And this is just a preview of what's going to happen in the next few minutes.